Traveling the world has always been something I've dreamed of, and more recently loved to do. Going from state to state and even country to country has taught me more about culture than any study ever could. But what some people don't realize is despite all of the beauty in it, the Pinterest ideals of what traveling is, and all of the pictures we post on our Instagram after our trips are over, traveling really just shows you what the world is like. Going to Guatemala, I thought I would be teaching children English, but what I found was much more astonishing. I had seen pictures of beautiful Guatemalan mountains, volcanoes, and tropical flowers, but what all of those photos failed to show me was the disparity in the poverty throughout the land. I had heard of the Guatemala City dump before, but being there was entirely different. As I stood at the ledge of a cliff, gazing into the Guatemala City dump at what I thought were vultures, the air smelt of a potent mixture of rotten bananas and mildewed material, and the taste of it made me choke. The vultures overhead intimidated me as if they could push me off the ledge with one big swoop. The sound of the dump trucks dumping garbage suddenly caught my attention, and as I looked into the dump the size of 24 football fields, I soon realized those vultures below were not vultures at all. They were people. People digging to find their next meal. People trying to make a profit from nothing. People taking care of their kids. People living in trash. You see, I had been preparing for that moment for months, but no book or lecture or documentary could have possibly prepared me for what I experienced. In my trip to Guatemala, I helped children in villages learn English. I gave sick kids' parents my condolences as they were about to lose their child. I helped make a 100 square foot shack feel big for a family of 7. I did all of these great things that I should be proud of, and I am proud of, but it had led me to the conclusion that if I hadn't gone, I would have never changed. There are millions of families facing extreme poverty throughout America, but it took me a trip 3,000 miles away to realize this. The poverty levels are only rising. The disparity between the upper class and the middle to lower class are getting larger and larger. If we keep overlooking these people like the people in the Guatemala City dump in our own nation, the disparity will only continue. It took me a trip across the country to realize this. But that's too much. We need to take the time to research the amount of homeless people in our communities and research what we can do to help them. Our poverty in America may not be a mirror image of the Guatemala City dump, but if we don't start helping our communities on smaller scales, then someday we may be. We need to do our part for the sake of the people in our nation and communities.